So, see, I feel like we're getting access to your Phillies playoff run group chat right here.
Yeah, these two definitely had a bunch to do with my playoff run, especially 08 and
both
09.
ways.
Both ways.
Right.
It's good to get the perspective of, guys from Philly that actually, guys that played in Philly that actually won in Philly, to get the feel of the city and, what the organization is actually feeling like. So I'm just happy that Jimmy and Ryan came on.
Oh, for sure. It's nothing.
Well, we
appreciate you.
We appreciate you guys being on. I guess that would be the first thing I'd love to dive into. Something C has talked about as well. Just how invested do you guys feel right now in what this team is doing?
Well, for me, it's definitely more probably now than in the past, just being my new role coming on, assist Dombrowski in the capacity that I have, just learning a lot about that side of it. As players, we know one side. We know today, we know winning, we know now, make the move. This is who we want. Bottom line, period, exclamation mark. But on the other side, I'm getting to understand why they do and don't make certain moves, how they're trying to get a feel for the team, what money is coming off the books, who we're going to try to go get later, et cetera. So now I'm like, okay, I see both sides of it. And I'm involved in that capacity. Not that I've made decisions. I've given my opinion. They've had me come in and talk to Bryce and, just little things along the way. So because of that, I'm drawn more in now than I have in the past. Other than that, I'm always going to be a fan, but it feels like I had maybe just a little smidge of something to do with the success of this team so far. Not really, but it just makes you feel that way. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, obviously I'm not there in the capacity of what Jimmy is. And being able to kind of see some of the other behind the scenes, putting the team together. So, just kind of being from the fan standpoint, former player standpoint, it's good to actually kind of see these guys finally gel and finally come together to be able to do what they needed to do. Jimmy and I have had multiple conversations about the squads over the past few years. And to me, the one thing I've noticed with these guys is that they finally figured out who they are. They finally found their ID. And see, as you know, like any team that you're on, that's a great team, whether it was the Cleveland squads or the Milwaukee squad, and eventually the Yankee squad that you won with in 09. You understand that there's an identity. You know what I mean? Like you go about it and you find that identity, you find that chemistry. And that's what these guys have finally been able to do. So for me, being kind of an alum, former player there, it's fun to watch and kind of see some similarities from those squads as the squads that we had.
Yeah, what's crazy to your point, Ryan, is I feel like the squad kind of got found their identity when Bryce went out, because you can't just lean on him. He was having an MVP type season leading up to when he got his hand broke, but everything was just kind of leaning on Bryce. Like, we're just going to wait for him to save us, hit a 3-run homer, do something late in the game. And I feel like when he went out, other guys had to step up, whether it was Alec Bohm or Rhys Hopkins or Gene Segura coming back. Like, these guys have really stepped up and, found their own role when their superstar kind of went out.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I mean, it's one of those things where, as you know, guys go down, it's got to be a next man up mentality. If you're going to sink or swim with Hart being there, then majority of the time you're going to drown. You know what I mean? So the way those guys were able to kind of come into their own, like you said, Segura on defense, getting hits, Bohm, stepping up and making plays. I mean, it's just been everybody all throughout that entire lineup has come through and contributed.
And to go on with that,
go ahead, Jimmy.
As you go through those times where players are injured, you do have to find different people to step up. And with this team being so young, it was almost necessary. Like you said, you leaning on Hart to come through and always be the hero, but no one else gets to find who they are. And they had to. And it was rough at times. It was times where I'm like, all right, these dudes, who's the leader? It's really, who's the leader? Who's the guy on the field every day in the clubhouse that's taking them out there, showing them this is how we have to win, that we have to believe, not hope. Everyone hopes to win. You know what I'm saying? Hope if the wind blow this way and it blow that way, that's where you're going. But belief cuts through all of that. At some point, they found it. And then when Bryce came back, and let's face it, this is the healthiest they've been as far as a lineup. They didn't get the contributions that they were expecting from Castellanos. Bohm stepped up. Stott has stepped up. Guys coming in, just like us in 07. We had like 50 pitchers, it seemed like that year. And, they've made trades, brought a guy in for a week, released them. That's how it's been with their position players. So it's the exact opposite in that sense, that they've had so many guys as far as position players trying to come up and contribute, that when they finally kind of weeded out everybody and said, this is who we have, they said, like you said, this is what we have to win with. And who are we? I think Schwarber had a lot to do with that. I'm sure Bryce did behind the scenes, although he wasn't on the field. And a character that Real Muto seems to be had a lot to do with that. When they finally got healthy and they gelled, as you know, baseball is about timing. You get hot at the right time and you're healthy at the right time, good things can happen. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and this squad is different in a sense of like, you guys kind of all came up together and had like this arc where you had, 07, 08, and then 09, you guys, 07, you were right there. 08, you win. 09, you're in the World Series, where this team was kind of like put together through free agency, whether it was Bryce or Nick, and then you got Zach Wheeler. So these different guys, they had to gel in a different way than you guys did because you guys knew each other forever and was coming up together, where it was you and Chase or, and you and Ryan, and y'all relationships were already formed in there. And these guys had to just kind of, come together, this summer and try to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's with every team, kind of going back to our squad, we had a lot of homegrown guys. And we were able to develop that core group of guys at a younger age. Now you look at them and you look at who's the core on this team. Well, obviously, yeah, you sign Bryce out of free agency. You bring in Real Muto before out of free agency, but they've already played together for 2-3 years. You got Wheeler, you got Nola, who's homegrown guy, been there. You got now Stott, you got Bohm, so you got some of those guys that are those homegrown guys that are coming out there. And Reese,
yeah.
And you're looking at that as your core group. And with any core group of guys, hey, we got a Long John Silver's that piece, and go add a piece. Go get a guy here, go get a guy there, so that we can go. Of course, you go make the trade, and you get Brandon Marsh to come in there, play center field, and he's been playing amazing out there in center field. So it's always about going there and adding those extra little pieces here and there that'll help just kind of cap off everything you're trying to do.
You guys talk about identity. What would you say is the identity of this team?
Oof. In my opinion, I would have to say they're a bunch of grinders. But it took those injuries for them to grind. First of all, you have to fight against the city. When you're playing on the East Coast, if you're not performing, you're not just fighting the media. Forget the media. These fans that show up every day, expecting a performance when you're not at your best, you don't quite know who you are. So you have to win those over. You're fighting those people. And then the media on top of that, just part of the product of being on the East Coast, they are media driven. They're sports driven. They love their teams. It isn't just, we're going to go to the Phillies game or Eagles game or Sixers or Flyers. It's like, nah, we're going to see our team win. And if we don't win, you ruin my night, you ruin my weekend. So learning to deal with all of that, learning to understand that. And this is one thing I tell people about the East Coast. You have to understand, you are just borrowing that uniform. Yeah. These people will live, die, bleed, do weddings because of this. All those things happen on the East Coast. When you understand that you're borrowing that uniform and they actually live this, you understand them and you understand that passion. And I think these guys finally were able to grind through all of the mess, all of the hate playing here, all the stuff that happened to say, this is what this city wants. This is how we survive in the city. If they could survive in that city on that field, playing a game becomes secondary. This is the easy part. We go out there, we do our thing, but we won these people over, which is always felt number one. Play the game. You could be as fancy as you want to. If they don't feel you out there trying to run through walls, it's like, oh, he cool. He on the team, but I like this dude, but he not even as good, but he gonna go out there and run through a wall. Once you develop that, relationship with the fans and they're able to see that, they buy into it. When you go out there and it's a home game, oh my goodness, you're talking about an advantage. When you go on the road, your fans start to travel. It's like, whether we're on the road at home, they're watching us. We got to go grind, because when we get off this road trip, if we have a bad road trip, they're going to boo us when they announce our name. So you just, you just kind of, you got to, put it all together, and they finally found it.
Yeah.
Hey, what does that do for you as a player? See, you've experienced a fan base like that, obviously, with the Yankee fan. Jimmy and Ryan, you've experienced it with Philadelphia. What does it do for you as a player when you know you have that kind of fan base where it's like, hey, like, I mean, this isn't St. Louis where they're going to love you no matter what, right? Even, San Francisco, like, if Aaron Judge goes and signs there, he knows for 10 years he's never going to get booed, no matter what happens. It's never going to happen. But if he goes, 0 for 12 in the middle of a 62 home run season, he will at Yankee Stadium, right? What does it do for performance, for actually, trying to do your job when you know that, you kind of have these people leaning on you, breathing down your neck as you are trying to perform?
I mean,
no, go ahead.
I'll just say it because it's because I kind of went through it towards the end of my career in Philly.
Yeah.
And, it's tough. I mean, look, we already have our own expectations for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And, I think our own expectations far supersede that of anybody else's that they could ever put on us. But I mean, I just remember the year I hit 58 homers, the first thing that was said the next year was, well, yeah, I think if Ryan pulls the ball, he can hit more homers. I was like, when did 58 not be enough homers? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just one of them things where everybody else is always going to have their expectations out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that guys just have to do when you go there. You understand, hey, when you sign that permission slip, sign that contract, you understand the fans are going to get on you and do this and do that. But at the same time, your goals somewhat align with theirs because you're not going out there and saying, hey, you know what? I feel like going 0 for 4 with 4 punchies today and I'm going to make a couple errors. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to go out there and you're going to give your all. And I think a lot of the time when in a New York or in a Philadelphia, when they see that you're giving that effort, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going, and like Jimmy said, you're running through walls and doing all kind of stuff like that, trying to go the extra mile, make the extra play to help your team win. They take that into account. I think they take that into account. But I mean, there are those times where, I think the media can play a huge, huge factor in that because a lot of people are just getting all their information from the media and not seeing, well, hey, that guy might have gone 0 for 4 today, but he hit 4 balls really hard, So the guy made a diving play. So some of that stuff is out of your hands. But to me, it was always about just trying to stay within myself and understand, like, I'll never be able to live up to anybody else's expectations because their expectations are going to be far greater than whatever they have for themselves. Mm-hmm. So, right. It's one of them things where everybody just kind of has to stay in their own lane. And as the player, you just kind of all you have to do is just live up to your own expectations.
And for me playing in that, it was humbling. Like, you just stay humble and even keeled. Because you're never as good as you think you are, or the media, or these fans, you know what I'm saying, go pump you up to me, and it's never as bad. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to stay in the middle, and it's the hardest thing to do as a baseball player, stay in the middle. But if you can, on the East Coast, you have to be able to find that space where you can just live with the result and worry about your process. And that's what people, that sounds cliche and all of that shit, but like, for us, going through playing in Philly, playing in New York, it's really just about the process and getting ready every day. And the result is the result. If I'm healthy and I'm able to make my 35 starts, my year is going to be what it is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's just about me being able to go out there and perform and stay out on the field. So it was just always it was humbling and staying even keeled, but it was always on your mind. Like, you'd be on vacation in Christmas time, thinking about fucking a game in May that you got to pitch against the Red Sox. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I'm already, my shit is already fucking spinning. It's Christmas time. I'm thinking about a game in May. So it's always on your fucking mind.
Always. You stay ready. Right. For sure.
Jimmy and Ryan, we had Rob Thomson on a week ago, which for anyone who didn't hear that podcast, make sure to go back and listen. And I was telling Rob just a story of my experience dealing with Philly fans, and I won't retell the story other than to say it's definitely the most intimidating fan base I have ever experienced in my life.
I seen a video of A-Rod going into the stadium the other day, him and Big Papi, and they were killing A-Rod. We made you. Oh, they was going over A-Rod, but then the guy turned around, he was like, But we love you, Big Poppy. We love you. Those fans are the best.
Rough. I'm wondering, Jimmy, Ryan, because we're kind of talking about dealing with it, when they're getting on you as the home team. But is there any sort of memorable experience you can think of seeing guys come to play in Philly as opponents, and seeing them shook, whether it's individuals or teams, big game, otherwise? Like, when I just say that, like, can you remember a time where you're like, oh, our fans got him, like that guy's gonna have a problem, or like that team's in trouble? Can you remember a time where that really resonates?
I would say for me, I mean, go to the 08 World Series when Tampa had to come here and have those 2 extra days hanging out in the city. And I'm sure it was like New York when who was that that tried to come there the other day? Was it Cleveland?
Cleveland,
when they got kicked out. Exactly. And
the
hotels like, nah, we don't have room. You got 8,000 hotels in New York. Y'all got rooms. You know what I'm saying? So, we got rained out for 2 days, and the Lowe's Hotel was like, we already booked up. So this team had to go all the way down to Delaware. But during the games, even before that, they got on Evan Longoria, calling him Eva. I mean, just wearing them out. Phillies fans, in the World Series, you have the family section, and all around them are Phillies fans. And just like New York.
We know.
Oh. They do their homework. They find about your mama, your kids, and they going to say something about them. So here they are, these players having a focus on the game, but knowing that their family is being somewhat threatened. Not that they're going to do something, but they're making them feel that way, making them feel very uncomfortable because they know that translates. They're going to go to their husbands, boyfriends, fiancés, whatever you are at the time. That's what was happening in the stands. So now, in between pitches, what are they doing? Looking up in the stands, make sure everything cool. That little bit of concentration is all that's needed to be gone in order for us to have the advantage. So I saw it, I witnessed it, and then when I heard about it, I'm like, I've heard about Philly fans. I've never had to experience it because I'm on the good side. But man, that really happens. I've been on the other side of it, no doubt about it. But I was good. I'm like, I talk trash. I know what it is. Being from the Bay, we talk trash. If ain't nobody throwing punches, all it is, we going back and forth. But some people not used to it. You come from a Tampa Bay environment where it's very, it's domed up and you got 15,000 fans. If the Yankees of Boston show up, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, you got about 5. And Philly, this is everybody that we don't like. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much everybody not in the Philly uniform.
Yeah.
Man,
I would second that. I actually, just to follow up too on that Longo story, I had ran into him after World Series in 08 down in Tampa, and we were like out and about, probably at the club. And
that's probably about right.
That's about right. So he came over, man. And he was like, bro, he's like, when those fans started chanting Eva, he was like, I was done, bro.
And that was his rookie year too. That was his first year.
That was rookie year.
I was like, bro. Hey, man. They all on it.
I'm like, Giddy.
But Ryan, you said you thought that they were going to be bad with A-Rod the next year, but they were good because y'all had won the year before.
Yes.
Yeah, they weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be, man. I thought they were going to wear him out. But it was what it was. And,
it was on a full billing.
They
were full, man. We needed them to get on Hideki.
That's what we needed for real.
That dude had a coming out party against us.
I'm saying, sent him a bad pizza or something.
pull a Jazz and Jordan.
Yeah, you already know.
You know what though? When we went there in 09, so in 08 we went there. Played y'all in what was it? The DS, right? We played y'all when I was in Milwaukee.
When you were with the Brewers.
Yeah, in the DS.
And we set a record for how many cheesesteaks we ate during the
with the
crushed.
Brewers.
Yes, we crushed cheesesteaks. Yes, exactly. That whole time, and we couldn't fucking move because it was me, Prince, Cam. Like we just having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Get more cheesesteaks. So 09 we go back. I tell Joe, I was like, no fucking cheesesteaks before the game. They weren't on the menu before the game. We could only have them after the game. I was like, I don't want everybody in there eating fucking 15 cheesesteaks, trying to set the record because they got the fucking thing up there, trying to set the record for the fucking weekend, and we get our asses kicked. So It was no cheesesteaks till after the game in fucking Philly.
That's that veteran move. That's that leadership. He's like, nah, I fell for them. They got me once.
Man, I'm not going to be full of cheesesteaks fucking crying all off season.
You say that itis was kicking in.
Me and Prince were on the bench sleep, cuz, doing some of those games.
Wait, but so see, they had an actual like record up on the board the clubhouse.
They keep a sheet up and like who eats the most as a team. Like during the series, like whatever
like
series,
a 3-day series, right?
3-day, 4-game series. Whoever eats the most, they have like a chart. So and it's like a competition, obviously. So we go there doing the playoffs.
This is a brilliant way to sabatage the opponent.
Exactly,
straight up. Hey, because we didn't have them in our clubhouse. Like Swanee, they were like on request. Like, but most of the time, if we wanted them, we would have them go get them from the visiting side because they were actually like fired. They were fired.
No, those are the best cheesesteaks in Philly. Yeah. Those are the best ones in Philly.
Yeah.
Like I've been to all. I've been to Pat's. I've been to every. Those are the best ones in Philly.
Yeah,
for sure.
We only had chicken cheesesteaks.
Yeah,
that's all you could get.
And it was like we wanted the beef. You had to get them from the visiting clubhouse.
Yeah, because we was over there. Because we had the itis over there.
Home field advantage, man. Hold on, but you can't talk. You go to New York, they feed you lobster, mashed potatoes, ribeyes. You know what I'm saying? You walking out like this, like, man, this ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, I looked over there at the spread in New York in the visiting clubhouse. I was like, you said, Jay, they had a roast over here on the right. They had a dude over here making sushi on the left.
Man, for real.
I'm like, bro, what?
I'm like, what does the home clubhouse look like? If we get this, what does the home? Because how do you get better for real?
Hey, that's exactly what they want you to think because they know you're going to be a free agent at some point. It's a very smart tactic. I just love that we've uncovered today on R2C2 that the real reason the 2008 Phillies got off to the run they did was the Brewers were too stuffed to play in the NLDS.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, unbelievable. Hey, speaking of 09, which is happier for some people on this pod than others, but Jimmy, I just wanted to ask you because it's funny. Did you guys watch, Jimmy? I know you were in it, but you guys watched the Captain doc on Jeter on ESPN?
I didn't watch all of it. No, I just went to the preview party when he had an All-Star break.
Okay,
it was dope though.
Yeah, and you're in it at one point because you had gone on Leno or whatever, and they like ask you for your prediction, and obviously I don't have to remind you, but you gave your prediction of Phillies in 5, right?
Right.
And it's funny because it's the kind of thing that like, what are you going to do? Predict your team's going to lose? Of course you're going to pick your team, but it obviously like for Derek and C, I don't know if what it was like internally, but like he very much liked bringing that up after the series was over. And even in the doc, like he liked bringing it up again. And I was wondering if what you caught of that in the aftermath of the World Series, did you get a feel of, that resonated with Derek Jeter after that World Series?
No, not at all. I mean, I really didn't care if it did or it didn't. I don't think, and we can all speak of this because we've won. Nothing can inspire you more to win than winning the World Series.
Winning the World Series.
Than winning the World Series, period. I mean, it doesn't matter who says what. I mean, you hear it, and here's the thing about talking trash, and we know this from the Bay. I don't know how y'all do it in St. Louis. It's up to you to stop me. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, then I was right. And if you stop me, then okay, you stopped me. Cool, you did your job. And that's really all there is to it. So if you take it personally in that sense and it gets you more fired up, then I did my job. But that means you did your job by taking it and using it the right way. Yeah, I mean, I've done it all my life. Some people know how to handle it. You take it and do it the wrong way. Anything I do is going to get on your nerves. It's going to irk you. Now, you're not worried about winning. You're just worried about trying to get back at me. So those who know how to take it, those who know how to give it. And if it inspires you, then cool. It's all for it. But at the end of the day, we're going to go out there. We're going to play this game. Somebody's going to win. Somebody's going to lose. And if it's us, then just same way I talk trash, respectfully. Great job. And at the end of it, and slightly off subject, one thing I was proud about, though, outside of talking trash, that all my folks from the Bay had a ring. Dontrell got his first. Mm-hmm. I got mine second, and C got his. I'm like, we didn't win, but you know what? I'm happy C got a ring at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. You guys feel that connection?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Me and Jimmy would always text each other before the season, say good luck, and then right when the playoffs start, let's meet in the World Series. And that year we actually fucking did. Yeah. But the one thing about that, with his prediction, Jeet was the only one that seen that, cuz none of us had no idea that he even said that. He got on the bus he got on the game one was here, so it must have been at home. He came in and he was like, "Oh, did you see the prediction Jimmy made?" So he was the only one that really saw it. None of us really seen it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it was him. And then when he told me, I was like, "Oh, damn, they feeling pretty confident." Because I know Jim. You know what I'm saying? I've been knowing him my whole life. So I'm like, damn, they feel like I assumed everybody thought that we were the better team. You know what I'm saying? Right. And when he said that, it made me a little nervous. I was like, damn, they feel like they could beat us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think anybody thought that they had a chance to beat us. I thought we were that good. You know what I'm saying? Just internally, like being in our own little shit. I'm like, oh shit, ain't nobody got no chance. And then when he said that, it made me a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, but it pissed Jeet off for sure.
Apparently, it pissed off a decade.
That's who really pissed off. Shoot, somebody translated that real clearly.
Somebody got the word.
It was like he was talking about fuck all y'all.
I love it. So when you guys are watching this Phillies run, and Jimmy, you talked about how there's a little more investment, with you with being an advisor to Dave Dombrowski, but when you both are and you've been, around the team now, are you living and dying with every pitch? Are you getting nervous? Like how do you kind of take it in as a fan and also as an alumni who's won a championship for this organization?
Yeah, good question. It's still more of a fan than the front office side, no doubt.
Yeah,
I can't say live or die with every pitch, but I'm definitely invested in every single pitch. Ball, strikes, swings, non-swings, bad defense, just like, bro. And then I have to take a deep breath and remove myself because, you feel that energy like what can I do? And there is absolutely nothing I can do. I can't hit, I can't run, nothing. So I have to just take a deep breath and create some space and just, take it in. No matter what happens, win or lose, I can't allow myself to go down that road because I'm not in uniform. I can't put on a uniform. I'm done. So it's weird, that space, because yes, I'm invested in every single thing that's happening, but I still have to take that step back and realize I can't be. I'm not in it.
Yeah, and that's for me. I'm the same. Like I don't want to be a part of wins and losses no more. You know what I'm saying? Like I go down to Yankee Stadium a lot, and I was down there a lot early this year. But it's just like you get so invested. You know what I'm saying? And like we lived that for so long that I don't want to be a part of that shit no more. It's not my time anyway.
Right.
And I don't want to be in any of the clubhouse stuff or anything that's going on. Like I just want to. So I like midway through the season, I just stopped going. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just being in there all the time and just start turn into a fan where I can just watch it from a distance. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I ever want to go back to wins and losses determining a good or bad job for me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's just, we did that for so long. And like you said, we have no control over what happens on the field. Like, we ain't throwing no more pitches. You ain't stealing no more bags. And Ryan, you ain't hitting no more homers. You know what I'm saying? So It's like, fuck it. I'm just watching and keep my distance and be a fan, man.
Yeah. I sit back and just watch it as a fan. And then, like you mentioned earlier, it's about staying even keel. I mean, you're invested in it in the game. And then all of a sudden, like your game mindset kind of comes into play with the situations that are taking place in the game. And understanding like, okay, hey, all you got to do is get this dude over. All you got to do is do this or just make this play. Understanding what situations are. Because I've always looked at it, even though I've been out of the game, I've always looked at it like that. But I mean, as far as like being overly invested in a win and a loss, I'm like, yo, they ain't writing about me at the end of the day. So I'm good.
Yeah.
See, now you have to take this mentality with your Raiders as well. because
you can't do that. That's a wrap.
I wish I could, bro. I wish I could. If I could, I would. I swear to God, I would, but I cannot.
He'll post something. I DM him talking about them Niners. I'm a Niner fan. Stevie up there, she like, man, we trash, bro. Like we fucking trash.
This motherfucker's from Oakland and he's a Niner fan. I don't understand that.
They were in LA though, bro. They were in LA. To me, they LA Raiders. Period. All I had was a Niners. My dad, mom, uncles, everybody. Look,
I grew up an LA Raider fan. I ain't gonna lie.
Exactly.
I was an LA Raider.
Look, I like Bo Jackson. I didn't like the Raiders. I liked Bo Jackson. But I had Joe Montana, Jerry Weiss, Roger Craig. What was our Ronnie Lott?
Shit make my stomach hurt.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we winning. You know what I'm talking about? y'all was at the Coliseum just running circles. Had Bo Jackson running.
We ain't never won, cuz. We ain't never won.
Y'all got 03. Did y'all win 03?
No, we lost in the Super Bowl.
Because I went to that one. Y'all
got blew out. Yeah, I left at halftime.
By Tampa.
Tampa. See, because I went to that game. I went to that game just because it was the Raiders. I'm not even around, but everybody I know probably going to be out there. Plus, you had the Playboy parties doing all the body paint at the time. I was up in there. You know what I'm saying? What about the game? But shoot, but that's how people they always had that same reaction. See, have like how I'm like they were the LA Raiders. Well, NorCal don't mess with SoCal like that. So it's like.
Yeah,
I can like the Raiders, but they represent everything LA, and I'm everything NorCal.
When they came back. You was already in high school.
I was a junior in high school.
Yeah, you was a junior high because I was a freshman. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I'm wondering when you guys look at you talk about this Phillies team finding its identity and this run that they've gone on. What have you guys noticed about Rob Thomson and why the switch to him was the right one and why he has been the right guy for this group?
In my opinion, a player's manager is always the best type of manager, player's coach, whatever. And I think people hear the word player's manager, meaning that they're going to favor the player, be soft on the player, and whatever things, bad connotations you get when you hear the word player's manager. When in reality, all it means is there's two-way communication. We're going to be clear about this. You're going to know where you stand every day. I'm going to be the buffer between the top, the media, and this clubhouse. I'm not going to throw you under the bus. I'm not going to let them come in and tell me who I should and shouldn't play. I'm going to stand with you guys. And when you're in that dugout, you have an idea. You come into my office, we can talk. Whether I listen or not is something different, but you're going to feel that you have that respect, that mutual respect going back and forth. When you have that, you're going to go out there and play. When you have a guy that you can't communicate with, doesn't come into the clubhouse, doesn't try to get to know the players, it's like, well, who am I playing for? Who is this dude? He asked something of me. I don't even really know this cat. Is he doing it for his benefit or is he doing it for the benefit of me or the team? I don't know. A player's manager, immediately. Everything he does, he's going to put, just like Dusty Baker's one right now. He puts on that Superman cape. He's going to take all them bullets, for the team, and you guys just go out there and play. He's going to protect this player. That's what a player's manager is. It's not a guy who's going to be soft on the players. He's going to be firm. He's going to close that door. Y'all going to have some one-on-ones. Y'all can go at it. At the end of the day, you're going to shake hands, hug. All right, let's go win a ball game.
Yeah.
You agree, Ryan?
I completely agree, but I think also just to kind of add to that too, it's having something to where every player is wanting to kind of they're buying into what he's selling, right? So you got to believe in what that manager is preaching, as well as the rest of the coaching staff. And I think obviously the three of us see. Jay, we've been on some squads like where we had, Charlie and our coaching staff. It wasn't just Charlie, it was the rest of the coaching staff where it resonated all through. And the message, the vibe all came through where it was like, hey, we're all about winning. Like Jimmy said, they put on that cape, they take all the hits, all the bullets and stuff like that from the media, protecting guys, allowing us to just go out there and go do what we do, which is just go out there and go play and making the game easy in that sense. But I think, in having a guy like Rob, like he's super easy kill, it looks like, very chill. I haven't had too much interaction. See, I know he was on the squad in 09, but and I think like in terms of what those guys are doing now, they're buying in. They bought into what he's selling. I mean, and obviously the Phillies have as well, which is why they gave him the extension. So when you can have a player's manager as a player, man, it's one of the best things ever, because you want to show up to the field every single day and you want to go run through a wall or go the extra mile for that manager and for your team.
Man, Jimmy explained Topper to a T, to perfectly. That's exactly who he is, to a T. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to K-Long too. K-Long is someone who keeps the clubhouse loose, not just for the hitters, for the pitchers too. He's a hitting coach that affects the whole team, and the whole mood of the team. You know, K-Long comes with all that energy, and he's kind of like a Swish in that way, like where he's going to bring the energy every single day, and he's having fun, so it makes you have fun. So I think having those two guys in there, I mean, you couldn't ask for two better guys to play for.
You know, it's interesting because that just seems like it would be really rare, to have a hitting coach have an impact that broadly on the clubhouse.
Have you seen the hitting coach? He's been to the World Series with 4 different teams now.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
He went with the Yankees, the Mets, the Nationals, and now the Phillies.
Pretty incredible.
I mean, you know, he's a pretty incredible human and coach. So he's one of those type of people. So
Jimmy, Ryan, you know, we can't let you get out of here without getting a prediction. We don't have Leno here to really anoint him, but I'm guessing I know where you're going. So I guess I'll ask it this way instead of just like who's going to win. If you're filling in the blank, the Phillies will win the World Series if they can do blank, or if blank happens. What's that blank for this series for your squad?
I'll say if they don't give Houston extra outs. This team is too good. We saw it in the ALCS. We saw it in the DS. Honestly, you give them extra outs, they make it, and they turn to 3 runs. They're not just getting one. You know that fourth out in the inning is 3 runs later, and you figure out, you know, what just happened, and they bring in that bullpen. It's a wrap. So 2 things actually. So no extra outs, and have the lead before the 6th, and you have a chance.
Yeah, I'm a piggyback on that, where again, it's not giving them extra outs. You can't have lulls on defense against this Houston team. They're just too good. I think the other thing is they've got to execute. I think they got to go back to that small ball, because when they did that small ball against the Braves, bunting guys over, getting into situations, I've seen it way too many times in games where I'm like, why don't they just bunt this dude over? And then you got your big boys coming up, and you got 2 opportunities to be able to try to knock this guy in, because we all know when you get to the postseason, the pitching is better and runs are few and far in between. So when you're not hitting that 2-3 run homer, like, you got to find ways to be able to get these runs. So, I mean, the Houston, obviously on paper and obviously on the field, is going to be the easy pick. But I think if these guys can go out there and they can clean it up on defense, not giving them extra outs, and they can go out there and execute that small ball and what they did, you know, against the Braves and later on in the season, I think they got a really, really good shot of taking it and surprising a lot of people.
Yeah, it's the extra outs and getting the bottom of that lineup out. Martin Maldonado turned that lineup out over so many times. Chas McCormick, they just turned the lineup over so many times and put runners on base without two. I mean, Altuve was cold, but still having that type of pressure, you got to get the bottom of the lineup out. I just want to ask you one last question, Jim, about when you say extra outs. I know you was at the game 4 at ALCS. What did you think with the shortstop coming to, like, I thought the pitch was pretty good to IKF. Did you think he was, I mean, for me, I thought he was out of position. I didn't think he was trying to turn a double play. I think he was just trying to get the out at second. I don't think he was going to try to throw the ball to first, because the way Altuve peeled off, he throws that ball, he's going to hit Altuve in the face anyway.
He just got out of position. It was like he was expecting a perfect throw. And one thing as infielders, we're taught, you never expect the ball to be perfect. So when I watched it, you know, instead of coming directly to Torres, he was kind of going around the bag. So as he got the ball, you know, a slow hit ball, so he's going to try to give him that quick, hard feed. If he stays center on the bag, it's an easy catch. He catches off his left side, maybe step on the bag with his off his right side, use his left foot to step on the bag and take the inside lane. But he was going on the outside. So when the throw comes across, his feet got tangled. So now he's trying to figure out which foot he's going to use to step on the bag. The throw comes from the inside part of the bag, and he stumbles. Now he goes out in the right field. That was huge because we always say you can't assume a double play, right? Assuming a double play means get the out at first.
Mm-hmm.
You always get the out at second. You put yourself in position like old school. You kind of shuffle your feet before you get to the bag. Then you read the throw. He was already committed. There was no shuffling. There was no reading of the throw. It was like this throw has to be here, and when it wasn't, it was out in left field, and that was huge. Absolutely huge.
That was the game.
I mean, it was, and I actually thought, I'm like, that was the first game that the Yankees showed up. When I say showed up, meaning they weren't trying to hit home runs. They got RBI singles, sac flies, whatever they were doing that first inning. They were coming out bang, bang, bang. Like you can see the intensity that their mindset switched on how they needed to win this series, or at least to come back in the series. But that era, we're talking about those extra outs, man, that ended up being real big.
Yeah. You was the first person I text right after that, too.
Yeah. He was like, what the fuck was that? Like, bro, I'm like, down this, bro. And this is the good part about being on this side, because as a fan, we get to sit back and ask those questions, but we're not invested at, to the point where, we are blind to what really happened. I came back. Look, it's a Yankee. It could be a Met. It could be whoever. I can go back and just break it down for what it was, because no matter who we are, no matter where we are after our career, I think we just like to see professional game of baseball played the right way, things executed, pitchers making pitches, hitters getting hits, defense being played well. We just appreciate the game in a different way. So, when C asked, I'm like, he just attacked the bag. He didn't read the throw. And it's just those little things that are the difference between winning championships and being at home fishing.
Yeah. Amen. And well, all you gentlemen know the difference because you all have a ring to show for it. Thank you guys for coming on R2C2 and giving us the perfect World Series preview ep. Enjoy the rest of this run. This is it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to see the way the guys are connecting with all of you from your championship team in 2008, and good luck to the Phillies. I pray for all the Astros fans who will be headed to the ballpark there in Philadelphia.
I appreciate it, y'all.
Appreciate y'all
being on. Sure. Let's do that again.
Yes, amen. Be well, guys.
All right, y'all be good.
Thank you.